Okay, so maybe a few of you are struggling a little bit with this assignment because I didn't post a video. So I'm going to do a couple with you here from this worksheet. So the first thing in the notes, one of the first things that it tells you to do is to make sure that it's in standard form. And if we remember, standard form is ax plus by equals c. So we need to have all our x's and y's on one side and then just our numbers on the other side. So on this worksheet, everything is already in standard form. You will not have to do any rearranging to make sure that they're in standard form for this particular worksheet. So let's look at number 1. So when I look at these, the first thing that I look at is I look at the first problem, and I'm going to just number these 1 and 2. I look at the top one and I see if there's anything there that I can eliminate in the bottom without changing anything. And in this case, I can eliminate the 2x, the negative 2x, and the positive 2x, because when I add those together, and really all I'm doing is adding straight up and down, when I add those together, they do cancel out. So then I move on to my y's, and I have negative 8 minus 6. And negative 8 minus 6 would be negative 14y equals, and then I'm just adding 10 plus 18 would be 28. And now I'm just solving this equation. So I have negative 14y equals 28. I divide both sides by negative 14 to get y by itself. And I get y equals negative 2. Okay, so y equals negative 2. And all I'm going to do is, just like we did before, I'm going to plug that into either one of my equations. I'm just going to plug it in right here. So I'm going to rewrite negative 2x minus 8 times negative 2 equals 10. Negative 2x plus 16 equals 10. Minus 16 to both sides. And I get negative 2x equals negative 6. Divide by negative 2. And x equals 3. So again, I'm always going to have two answers, an x and a y. And if we take it one step further, this is actually a coordinate. And remember, when we write coordinates, we have an x and a y. So my coordinate here would be 3, negative 2. And that would be my, my final answer. I know I didn't tell you guys to write it as a coordinate. I'm just showing you that we are going to start writing it as a coordinate, because this would be the correct answer, 3, negative 2. Okay, let's look at another one here. Let's see if there's one that doesn't quite cancel out. So if we look at number 5, I have 2x plus 5y equals 0 in my first equation, put a 1 there. And then my second equation, I have x plus 5y equals negative 10. Both of them are in standard form, so I don't need to do anything here. But if you look, I have a positive 5y in the top and a positive 5y in the bottom. They don't cancel each other out. So now what I have to do is I have to multiply one of the two equations by negative 1 to make that one of those negative. I know that sounds confusing. So again, what I'm going to do is I want one of these to be negative. So I'm going to multiply by negative 1. And I'm going to pick the first equation. It doesn't matter which one you choose. I'm just going to choose the first one. So when I multiply by negative 1, I'm going to multiply everything by negative 1, which means I'm distributing the negative 1 to the 2x, to the 5y, into the 0. Okay, so when I rewrite that, I get negative 2x, and I'm going to write it in line right under equation number 2. Negative 2x minus 5y equals 0. Okay, so now I'm looking at these two. These are my new equations that I'm working with right here. So now I have, this is not 1 and this is 2. Okay? So now when I look at it that way, my 5y is negative, and when I go to add those, they do cancel each other out. Okay? So all I did was multiply one of the two by negative 1, and it doesn't matter which one, but you have to multiply one of the two by negative 1 in order to cancel the y's out. So then I'm just going to go down, and x minus 2x is negative x. My y's cancel out, and equals negative 10 plus 0 is negative 10. I can't have a negative x, so I have to divide by negative 1. And x equals 10. Okay, so then all I'm going to do is plug that 10 back in and solve for y. And in this case, I'm actually going to plug it in right here for that x. So I rewrite this and I get 10 plus 5y equals negative 10. Remember, I'm solving for x now, so solving for y. I'm going to subtract 10 from both sides, and I get 5y equals negative 20. Divide by 5, and y equals negative 4. Okay, and so when I write that as a coordinate, I have my x goes here, my y goes here. I have 10, negative 4 as my final answer. Okay, let's do one more like that, because I see there's a couple more. It looks like you're going to have to multiply. Let me look. Number 6 is going to need multiplied by negative 1. Number 7. Number 8. And that's it. So 6, 7, and 8. So let's just do number 6 together here. So the first thing I need to do is choose one of the two equations. So here's 1, here's 2. One of the two equations, and I'm going to multiply by negative 1 so I can eliminate one of the 7 x's. So I'm just going to multiply this bottom one by negative 1. And when I do that, I'm distributing to each of the components. And I have negative 7x minus y, plus y, because negative 1 times negative 1 is positive 1, equals negative 29. So really all I'm doing is changing the sign in front of each term, if that makes sense. Okay, so now I'm just going to go ahead and rewrite this down here, and I get 7x plus 8y equals 20. Okay, now my 7's can cancel each other out when I add. So remember, I'm just adding straight up and down. So that cancels out, and I get 9y equals negative 9. Negative 29 plus 20 is negative 9. Divide both sides by 9. Y equals negative 1. Okay, so y equals negative 1. Again, I'm going to plug that in. Let's just plug it into the first one right here. So when I rewrite that, I get 7x plus 8 times negative 1 equals 20. 7x minus 8 equals 20. Add 8 to both sides. That cancels and I get 7x equals 28. Divide by 7. X equals 4. So then my final answer would be 4, negative 1. Okay? If you struggle with those, it's okay. I want focus on numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 9, and 10. And we can come back to the to 5, 6, 7, and 8 if we need to. Okay, let me know if you have any questions. I will have office hours on Wednesday from 1 to 2 if you need to Zoom, and Thursday 1 to 2 if you need to Zoom.